Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Spider-Man retro carded Scorpion. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember, you can now hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man retro carded Scorpion, and this is more like it. This is exactly what I wanted from the Scorpion figure that came out originally in the Molten Man Build-A-Figure wave a few years ago. I can't help it that my first introduction to a lot of these Spider-Man characters were from the animated series, so my mind's eye of Scorpion will always and forever be in this much brighter, vibrant lime green that we get on this Marvel Legend. Now, to be completely honest, it's a straight up repaint of that previous version in the more animated inspired colours. So there are a few sort of inaccuracies with the particular character design from the animated show, but however, I'm willing to ignore all that because it's close enough for me, at least. So I'm not going to be super nitpicky here. The colours are spot on. It undoubtedly looks like Scorpion from that 90s Spider-Man animated show that I hold so close to my heart. And this review is bittersweet, as this may be the very last Spider-Man retro card that I review, as next year Hasbro have already announced they're moving things into the VHS format as its plastic-free packaging. Will we see the retro cards again? Who knows? Time will tell, but at least I got a whole wall display complete, so I'm happy with that. But anyway, bittersweet moment. I'll do a quick comparison compared to the previous cel-shaded Spider-Man on this card, and as you can see, both of these are a lot more colourful and vibrant and definitely fit more in theme with that animated style, so really like it. But back to Scorpion. Here he is in the packaging, absolutely zero accessories. He comes with a big bendy wire tail. We get a picture of Scorpion on the side there, and it says Scorpion Sting up here on the sort of graphic. On the back, we get in that same graphic, we get the stencil, which is a throwback to the Toy Biz cards in the 90s, and we get a write-up that reads, possessing superhero athleticism and a mechanical battlesuit, the Scorpion is driven by his hatred for Spider-Man. So there we have the retro card. This is the only Scorpion I've currently got, so I am a little bit sad I've got to open it, but you know I'm going to buy an extra for the wall. But for you guys, I'm going to open this up and compare it to the previous version. Let's do it. Here we have Matt Gargan, aka the Scorpion, out of the packaging with zero accessories. As I said, it's all about that bendy wire tail. For anyone who doesn't have the previous version, he stands just under 6.5 inches tall, which is probably standard Marvel Legends size. No complaints from me, but it is all about the bendy wire tail. So let's measure that. Now, not the most flattering pose for Scorpion, but I did want to give you a sense of scale when you straighten out the bendy wire tail, because there's more length there than it appears in the packaging. So if I get the tape measure out, you can see for yourself from the spike to the backpack in total, you're looking at about 15 inches, which is impressive. And the tail allows you to be a little bit more creative when posing, taking pictures, or even displaying on your shelf. It will take up a bit of real estate, as you really do have to work the bendy wire to get him to pose up looking nice. But when you do make it work, undoubtedly looks like Scorpion. And as I said, there's quite a lot of flex to this tail. You can twist it, manipulate it. And if you're really good at your balance game, you can literally get him using it as a flight stand. Like, you can get it to sort of hold his weight if you balance it just right. So let's zoom in and take a closer look at this Matt Gargan face sculpt, as the mask is the other key difference between the previous version. Now, the actual head sculpt itself is exactly the same, but the paint application is different now, and it makes it more accurate to the animated show. Now, the design of the mask isn't spot on. There are a few differences, but as I said, it's close enough, so I'm not complaining about it. The skin tone around the nose and the mouth are much more accurate to what we see, and even the dark green now applied to the lime green on the actual helmet, the mask, whatever you want to call it, is more accurate. Now, there's a few less spikes or more spikes compared to the animated show. I'll bring in a side by side, and you can see for yourself. The design itself is not spot on, but it's close enough, at least for me. Now, as to bring in the previous face sculpt, you can see it's the same face sculpt, the same facial expression, even the lines for the mask are still exactly the same, but now the skin tone is much more visible. On the previous version, I have no idea why, but they painted not only the nose green, but also the lips green. Now, he has a few different masks in the comics, so the other version can forever remain a comic rendition of Scorpion, but I much prefer this new one here with the lime green and then the face being more skin tone. I like it. Let's take a closer look at the rest of Scorpion for anyone who doesn't have the previous version, as it was a unique mold for Scorpion at the time. He has these ridges sculpted on him from the neck all the way down to the boots. I'll show you what I mean. From the arms there, they go along the chest and all the way around onto the back as well. These sculpted ridges and lines going all the way down to the boot cut essentially. And they've even added a bit of extra paint on the top of the boots there, that dark green on the top of the trunks as well, and as well on the neck. You can see which matches the dark green on the mask, which is accurate to the animated show. You've got the dark green on the backpack, lime green for the tail, which has those sculpted lines all the way on it as well, to the spike on the end, which is a chrome colour with a little bit of dark green there as well. So there is a boot cut there, and that is where the sort of sculpted lines end, and other than that, it is double jointed body, but it does have the pins on the arms and the legs. As I said, it's from 2017. There is no ab crunch. Instead, you get the sort of diaphragm ball, but this whole backpack is attached to the upper diaphragm. So you get swivel at the waist and you get a little bit of tilting and a little bit forward and back, but I'm talking about a tiny bit on the actual waist. The arms will go up to 90 and there are double jointed elbows, of course, as well. And the head's on a disc and hinge, so you get a decent amount of range as well for the head for like jumping around for your Scorpion. So all in all, it's a good body, to be fair, but hopefully a lot of people already have this in their collection, or maybe you were holding out for this more accurate version. Let's compare the two, shall we? So here we have our Marvel Legends Scorpion comparison. Now, to be honest, my black background probably isn't doing either of these green character designs justice, but hopefully it comes across well enough on camera for you to see the differences here, which is all in the deco. The figures themselves, in regards to sculpt and articulation, from the heads to the feet all the way to the end of their tails, they are exactly the same. It is just a deco difference here. Do you prefer a more lime green animated inspired Scorpion with the mask, or do you prefer the dark green metallic vibe Scorpion? There's no wrong answers here. It is genuinely personal preference. So please let me know in the comments below, which Scorpion do you prefer? A more animated inspired or more comic inspired? It is genuinely up to you. No wrong answers. For me, will always be the lime green animated Scorpion, but both of these figures are really nice, and I do like the bendy wire tail too. So yeah, there you go. There's our Scorpions. And there we have a quick look at the back for anyone who is interested. So let's move into some comparisons and start off with some Spider-Man figures that also come on this retro card. And look how good these three look together. Definitely gives me those nostalgic 90s animated series vibes here. Really like how this looks. We've got the brand new cel-shaded Spider-Man who I showed you at the start of the video, and then we have the retro Lizard as well. And yeah, these three look great. Next up, we have the retro carded Electro and Shocker. Now, apologies for the dodgy posing. This is literally how they are on my display. So I've just pulled them off the display for the sake of this review. But again, look at these classic comic book Spider-Man characters in their animated styles. It is very nice. Now, they're not 100% perfect to the animated show, granted, but for me, I look at them and it still gives me the nostalgic vibe. So I'm happy. And let's bring in some bigger characters from the Spider-Man Rose Gallery that were also on the retro card. So we've got the retro Kingpin and the retro Rhino. Bringing in some civilians here, we've got the retro J. Jonah Jameson, who helped create Scorpion, and then we have the retro Peter Parker as well, but it is not an accurate Peter Parker to the animated series. I'm hoping to see some animated inspired civilian characters in that VHS retro line. Time will tell. And just to compare into a couple of comic figures, we've got the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and the 80th anniversary cap. And as you can see, the colours are really vibrant. He will undoubtedly pop on a display. And yes, of course he can still work in a comic display. Next up, we've got Frogman, who looks like he could be part of some sort of elite green team with Scorpion there. And then, of course, we've got Tigra and White Rabbit. And last but never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Spider-Man retro carded Scorpion. Now, I can't help it. I will forever remain biased when it comes to these retro cards. I just love the nostalgic vibes that it gives me, and I like displaying them as part of my collection as well. And now we have another great Spider-Man villain in his more animated colours to add to that collection. Now, it's not 100% perfect to the animated show, but none of the figures in the line are. They're just meant to give you the feels of that animated show, and they definitely do. This is also a great opportunity for people to add Scorpion to their collection who may have missed out on the previous version, as this is still undoubtedly a nice Scorpion for even a comic display. And remember, it doesn't have cel shading on it, and that's what I hope Hasbro continue to do moving forward as we transition into a Spider-Man VHS line. Just make sure the figures in those boxes don't have cel shading, so if you open the figures and display them all together, they're all going to fit nicely in theme and give you those animated feels. That's what it's all about. But you let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you prefer the previous version? Do you like the update here? Let me know what you think. And if you like Marvel Legends, and guess what? You're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlists, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who, the one and only real account, trust me. And I'm on Twitter as well at Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.